Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. For those that are new here, my name is Telika and I upload makeup videos, character transformations and sometimes other little stuff. For today's video, I'm going to be showing you guys some tips and tricks on how to get flawless foundation. Before we jump into the video, don't forget to subscribe and check out my Instagram page. I'll have everything linked down below. And without further ado, let's get into it.
Hold me close till I get up.
So today guys, we're going to be up close and personal. I always take you to a personal level, like quite a lot. So there's a couple of things before we get started that I want to mention. The first thing is, no, I'm not a professional makeup artist. I'm pretty sure, I think I've stated this in a couple of other videos, but if anyone's new, I just do it for fun. Like, it's my hobby. It's just a hobby to me. I don't actually do it as a job. The second thing is skin, like depending on your skin type, the results will vary. For me, my skin is very dry and it is also very textured. I have a lot of little bumps that you personally can't see right now. It's something that you can only really see like in person, or if I put something on that emphasizes my bumps and texture. So I just want you guys to keep that in mind throughout the whole video. And yeah, like this is just for fun. If you have the same like skin as me, I'm just showing you my techniques. Even if you have oily skin, there are like different options that you can do, and let's just have fun. So first things first, that not many people actually really say, I don't reckon, is to get that flawless base, you want to exfoliate your skin. Now, it is very important that you do not do this every day. I generally only exfoliate my skin when I know I have an event coming up. Okay guys, voiceover Telika, I didn't really explain myself properly there. That's not the only time I exfoliate. So I exfoliate 2 to 3 times a week. But what I was trying to say was, if I knew I had an event coming up on the weekend, I would then make sure that my exfoliant day landed on that day of the event. So then I got the flawless foundation. I hope that makes sense. You should only really be exfoliating 2 to 3 times a week. Definitely go speak to a dermatologist to find out what your needs are on exfoliating. This is just a tip to show you guys. So the reason why exfoliating helps is obviously because you are scraping away all that dry, loose skin. If you go to put foundation on it, it does go in between if you are dry and flaky, and it brings it forward. So this just really helps, you know, get it out. So I'm going to go ahead and exfoliate half of my face so I can show you the do's and the don'ts. Okay, so that was actually more difficult than I thought. So the next crucial step is moisturizing. You have to moisturize your face. I am going to do this for both sides purely because I do have dry skin, and honestly, I feel like people with dry skin, they always moisturize their face. I would be really worried for those that have dry skin and they don't moisturize their face. So generally I just use the simple moisturizer, and we're just going to put that all over. Make sure to take it down your neck as well. Now, if you do have dry skin, you want to make sure that your skin is hydrated before you put all those products on. So afterwards, I also go in with a serum. This is the Fasali Unicorn Essence. You don't have to get this one because it can be quite pricey, but using a serum or an oil before your application also helps. Making sure that your skin is hydrated is literally one of the best tips that anybody can give you. So I'm just going to apply this on the do side. There's so many people as well, even people with oily skin. If you're someone with oily skin, you still need to moisturize. Just because you have all these oils getting produced, it's not the same as hydrated skin. Especially because oils break down makeup. Like, you want to actually control that and not use that as a base because it will break down your makeup. So the next step is a primer, and like Nikki Tutorial says, to not prime is a crime. It's true. Okay, so a lot of people do not believe in primers, and that's fine. It's your own choice. Like I said, everybody's skin is different, so do what works for you. Now, the thing with primers that I don't think most people realize, or especially with beginners, they don't look into it. They just, grab a primer and then they grab a foundation and powder and they just put it all together, is that the actual ingredients themselves, you need to be careful of what you put with what. So, for example, the two bases that a primer and a foundation come in is silicone and water. Now, you can't mix a silicone primer with a water-based foundation. However, if you need to, you can mix a water-based primer with a silicone foundation as long as you let it dry. You need to let your primer dry first. If you don't let it dry, your foundation will start to break apart and bits of it would just slide off. So what people do is actually use a water-based foundation with a water-based primer and a silicone foundation with a silicone primer. That way you are at the safest bet and they're not going to fight against each other and try break everything apart. So I'm only going to do the primer on this side. So my favorite primer that I use is a water-based primer, and that is the Fenty Beauty. I absolutely love this primer. It is honestly, I just keep going back to it. Now, what I do is I just put a little bit there and I'm warming it up in my hand first. Once I've done that, that is when I go on and I just rub it in. The other thing is, if you use a silicone primer, it's best to actually warm the product up in your hand like I just did and actually dab that in on your skin, especially around the pores. So we are moving on to the foundation. So my foundation, it is one of my favorites as well, is the Clinique Beyond Perfecting. Now this too is also a water base, so it goes hand in hand with the Fenty Beauty that I just used. So for a flawless finish, I use a flat top brush, and you want something with a bit of firmness behind it, so when you dab on, the bristles just don't go. For example, a brush like this, and the other thing that I also do is I use a sponge at the end of it. So for the foundation, you actually want to place most of the product at the center of your face and work your way outwards, as you actually need more coverage there than what you do out here. But that really goes hand in hand in what your skin type is. A lot of people do have acne and it can break out all up here, which in that case, you would actually need more coverage here instead. So The other thing is I do advise that if you do have breakouts or any spots and blemishes that you want to cover up, it is best to cover it with a concealer first. I personally don't have any that I want to cover up, except for down here, but I'm not too worried about it. My suggestion is to actually grab your concealer and tap it on the place. Don't rub it in, don't grab a brush and just go, actually just tap it in on that spot and just that spot. The other thing that I use at the start of my foundation is a flat brush. This here just helps get that even coverage everywhere. The best thing to do with your foundation is actually put it on your hand and then warm that product up first. Once you've done that, I then grab this flat brush and then I literally just place it all over. And as I said, I'm placing more coverage in the center of my face than I am out here. Once that's all placed down, that's when I grab the flat top brush, and you don't want to swirl it around or swipe it. You want to dab the brush. So when you dab like this, it doesn't cause your makeup to get caught under any bits. And I've just put more foundation here because the other thing is never forget your neck. Even if you think it matches, just do your neck. Now, once that's all done, I get my damp beauty blender and then I just carefully bounce that into my skin. Once again, you don't want to like bounce and swipe, just purely bouncing it like this into your skin. So what this does is it soaks up the extra product that you actually don't need, as well as helping it blend out a lot more flawlessly and you don't get any streaky lines. And that is the do side. So just a recap of the don't side, I haven't exfoliated, I've only moisturized, and I haven't used a primer or a serum to put that hydration back in my skin. So what you don't want to do is just go straight on to your face with the product. Now, what you see a lot of people do is they grab the brush and they aggressively do this. This here, you're dragging the product so much, and if you do have like dry skin, it does catch under that skin and it doesn't leave a nice base at all. And the other thing is your neckline. A lot of people generally leave that. So I'm just going to quickly show you guys a close-up, and like I know I've got bumpy skin, it's going to come out no matter what I do, but these are the differences. So on the don't side, you can see the dry spot slightly lifted up. It's very hard to actually tell because my lights are up so bright that it is just reflecting off my skin. The other thing is you can see the streak marks as well, and also the nose looks more cakey than it does on the other side. So for the do side, you can see that there's no dry marks along the cheeks there, and there are no streaks. And that's because of the beauty blender. When you go back over it, it gets rid of any streaky lines. The other thing is with it, when it soaks up the product, you can tell on the nose that it doesn't look as cakey as the don't side. So with the concealer, you don't want this whole area to be bright. What you want to do is, if you do want a bit of brightness and a lift, I grab two concealers. First, I grab the Too Faced one, which is the same color as my skin, maybe just a little lighter. And then I grab the Maybelline Fit Me, which is a lot lighter than my skin. Now with the one for my skin tone, I place it in this outer corner, just the tiniest bit, and just in this front bit here. And then I grab a mini sponge and damp as well. Now with this out one, I actually blend upwards, not downwards. Once again, you want to keep that product in that spot. You do not want to drag it down and do half of your face. Now, if you want a bit of highlight around your bottom eye area, that is where I come in with this lighter shade. Now, I just place a couple of dots under it, and then once again, I just gently blend that out, keeping it in that area. And it just gives you a little bit of highlight. Now, what you don't want to do is this big triangle that you see influencers do. I mean, unless you like it, go ahead. But in person, it's not the greatest tactic. And then once again, using the brush, they swipe it. And that's the difference. Now, the other thing that also helps is rehydrating your skin through each step. So now that I've let those products be on my skin, I'm now going to go in with Fix Plus and quickly spritz this side of my face. The other thing is you want to actually fan it. Do not just let it soak. So the next step is powder. So what I do for powder is I grab my trusty Australis Fresh and Flawless powder. You can get this at Priceline. And you want your damp beauty blender again. And then you want to just press it into your skin. This is a much better way to put on powder because once again, you're not lifting anything off your skin and it's not getting caught. This way also doesn't make it cakey. This is one of the best tips. It is like it actually makes the powder melt into your skin. Now, what you don't want to do is grab a fluffy brush, swirl your brush around, and people do this to get heaps of product on there. And then they do the same thing. And so many people have in their minds that they need to bake. You do not need to bake. It is a waste of time. It's too much for your skin. You honestly do not need that to actually highlight. But because everybody feels like they have to do it, we're just going to do it. I'm going to use the Huda Beauty in Sugar Cookie. And what people get told is to grab their beauty blender once again and literally plaster this area of white powder because it looks good. And then they let it sit there for a few minutes. Every time I blink, powder falls from my face. And then they tell you to grab the fluffy brush again and dust it away. Literally. Like, there you go, swipe. And there we are, like, it's literally pointless. Now, I'm going to tell you, everybody creases. Your under eyes are going to crease. It is normal. Please do not think that, like, it's ugly or it looks horrible. It is completely normal. It's the same as smile lines. You're not going to go out about your day and not smile just because you're afraid of a crease mark where your smile lines are. So once again, because I've just done another step and put powder on, I'm going to spritz my face again with Fix Plus. And I'm just going to go and do the rest of my face and I'll be back to finish off this video. Okay guys, so the rest of my makeup is on and we are all done. The other tip I want to give you too is with your bronzers and blush and highlight. If you use cream products, it doesn't emphasize your texture or like your bumps, anything like that, as opposed to a powder. A powder does bring it all forward and shows it. Now with me, I know I've got really textured and bumpy skin. It's just my skin. So I decided to wear the powder, bronzer and blush and highlight just to show you guys. And yeah. So without exfoliating my skin, I can see all that dead skin on the other side where the makeup has either gone around it or under it and it's just standing out more. On my forehead, it looks like it's rubbed off a bit and I've literally done nothing. The only thing I have done is film another video. So there's some of my tips and tricks and I hope you guys enjoyed. Do let me know if you use any of these or were the ones that you didn't know about. I would love to hear what your thoughts are. To give this video a thumbs up and subscribe and turn that notification bell on and come join the family. We are uploading twice a week now on Thursdays and Sundays, and yeah, I would love for you to join. And in saying that, I will see you guys next time. Bye!